Welcome back into Weather Nation. You're riding shotgun with field correspondent Ben McMillan on I-75 traveling southbound in and around Cordell, Georgia. As you can see, heavier rain starting to come down, very dark, and it's 3:40 Eastern time. It should be big and bright, but we have a severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado warning in effect for this area until 4 p.m. This will be for the greater Cordell area, Crisp County in Georgia. It's in effect until 4 p.m. local time. Let me tell you who's in, who's out on this warning. It is going to include Cordell and Rains, US 280, US 41, and a sliver of I-75. Steve Glazier here with you with our team coverage that continues. I want to bring in, joining us by phone, field correspondent Ben McMillan. Ben, if you can hear us through some of the heavy rain, have you seen any hail yet, or has it been just all rain?
Not yet, Steve. We're just coming in through the north side of this cell, through the core, and you've seen the rainfall intensity pick up significantly here. Obviously, lots of traffic on the roadways, and this is a situation we really don't like to see. We have a tornado warning about to cross 75 here with a lot of people traveling, and the city of Cordell has about 10,000 people. That's the population, so this is definitely a dangerous situation for the Cordell area, for people traveling on 75, both in the north and the southbound lanes. We want folks to start taking this warning seriously.
Yeah, and we continue to check in with the National Weather Service office here in Atlanta. So it sounds far away, but the Peachtree City office, and they are continuing this tornado warning. In fact, actually, Ben, I would be very careful saying observed. So I'll be very interested if you can see anything. Of course, you're on kind of the tough part of the storm, a lot of heavy rainfall. We ask that you be safe, but yeah, they say that there's been a couple of scans here where that rotation has increased enough to actually get debris lofted up. Anything you can see through that rain, or not just quite yet?
Visibility is very poor. We're again coming in through the downdraft region of the storm, which is where all this heavy precipitation really obscures our visibility. But soon we will be arriving in a safe location south of the cell and should be able to show you live pictures. So stay tuned here on Weather Nation. We're going to have pictures for you as this possible tornado crosses the interstate any moment now.
Well, Ben, I'll let you go by phone, but please keep your stream up because I would be highly interested to see if we can actually make anything out, even though you're seeing a lot of heavy rain. So we'll let you go by phone, and we'll let you get your game plan ready for what you'll do next to make sure you're safe, and then also to get any visual on that. But let's get you back to the radar and show you what's going on here. There's the rotation, the National Weather Service office saying that, and yeah, you've got a big all of a sudden drop right there in terms of what we're seeing. And what the radar is seeing is a lot of differently sized objects. So that's what it's honed in on. And it's seeing anything. It could be leaves. It could be parts of structures. You never truly know until you go do damage assessments or get eyeballs on it. But that's it. Those are the ETAs for when it is going to arrive in your area. Cordell in the next 15 minutes. That's going to put it by 4 p.m. local time. I'd say 3:55. Richwood by 3:55 to 4:05. And Pena here in 26 minutes, and that'll put you up to it about by 4 o'clock Eastern time. This is a confirmed tornado, again, moving to the east-northeast at about 30-35 miles an hour for Crisp County, Georgia. It includes Cordell, I-75. In this area, seek shelter, get to the closest, sturdiest building, head to the lowest level, put as many walls and windows between you and the outside as possible. You just want to get farther and farther away from it. Manufactured homes on site, mobile homes, they're never safe places. If you have the time to get to a safer structure, a friend or someone you know that has that sturdier structure, it is always the best. Just to let you know about a couple of other warnings taking place up toward Warner Robins, Georgia, near Macon. We have some severe thunderstorm warnings that are taking place. And then just north of Tallahassee on the Florida and Georgia border. Here's the wide view. I'll gather a little bit more information as we continue to take you along with field correspondent Ben McMillan. If you're just joining us, we've had a confirmed tornado in Georgia. This is approaching I-75. We continue to check in with our field correspondent Ben McMillan as well. Ben, I know you've just traveled through some of the heaviest rain, possibly some small hail pellets in this area. Very hard to see. You've pulled off now. Has the visibility improved any to what you can see?
Not really, Steve. I mean, we can obviously see a few more miles, but still in moderate rain here, and the skies are definitely very dark and ominous looking to our west. So we're watching this very closely for any kind of lowering, any kind of cloud that may come out of the sky that would indicate an area of rotation at this point.
As heading toward Lake Blackshear, so this is again a tornado that is confirmed by the radar. It's picked up debris. Not sure what that debris is just yet. It could be some vegetation. It unfortunately could be parts of buildings, but the most dangerous part of that storm is just on your west bend by about 10 miles. The storm's moving at about 30 miles an hour. So that's in the next 15 minutes. The most dangerous part of that storm would be near Cordell. You're just about to get into the clearer part of things. Just by curiosity, were you close enough to get the EAS alert, or were you outside the polygon? Did you get any warning to your phone?
Yeah, our cell phones are indicating emergency alert, tornado warning, so we're definitely in this impact area, and we're starting to see traffic thin out a little bit, which is a good sign. I think folks may be starting to take cover, and for good reason. We obviously have been sitting here on WeatherNation. This is a confirmed tornado moving towards Interstate 75, so anyone traveling in this area, we urge you to take shelter immediately.
Yeah, and again, in your area in about 15 minutes, Ben. So traffic is getting lighter. Have you noticed anything else in terms of some people trying to seek some shelter here in this area? I mean, where you've pulled off, there are a lot of restaurants and even some strip malls. So there are a lot of big, secure, sturdy buildings. Have you seen people going to take shelter in those areas?
We are seeing people park here. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but I hope they're getting to that safe spot. A reminder to put as many walls between you and the storm as possible and this possible tornado. That's the best course of action. Have a way to receive warnings, whether it be a battery-powered device, your cell phone. You can watch WeatherNation live on our app, on your phone, in a safe place. So just make sure you have a way to get information, a way to stay out of the path of the storm and to stay safe.
Hey, Ben, do you have to go, or can you stay on the phone?
Steve, we can stay live with you as long as you need.
Okay, well, we are going to go through the commercial breaks just to cover this since you're right here and since the storm is approaching your area. So, I won't ask any more questions. I'll just have you on the line. But feel free to interject as I'm talking through a little bit of the radar if you see something, because we have your stream up in case you can't see it. We've got the radar, myself, and then your live stream there of that storm. The toughest part of the storm, again, in your area, Ben, in about 10 minutes or so. A lot of lightning with this, too. I've turned the lightning off because you can't really see the details of the storm, but there is some prolific lightning. So Ben's going to stay in that car, because if you're in a car, you're okay from lightning. It's that shell of the car. As long as it's not a soft top or anything like that, hard shell car, you're okay for that. But a vehicle is not a safe place to be if you're in a tornado warning. It's not going to keep you safe just to pull off the side of the road or anything like that, or stop under the overpasses. You're going to want to seek the nearest secure shelter, or this hasn't crossed I-75 yet. If you're going to go north-south, you can get out ahead of the storm and away from the warning. You want to get away from the storm as fast as possible. National Weather Service office being real good on the chat today. They're saying that this is a considerably dangerous storm, that maybe even some of the debris has gotten lofted up to 15,000 feet. That is really impressive. We saw that last week in Alabama, some of the debris getting lofted up between about 15 and 20,000 feet. It's an indication of a very strong tornado. Let me show you where this is. This is US 281 right here between Cobb and Coney and Cordell. 281 east-west. The rotation's just on the south side of it. This is moving toward Cordell and sections of Crisp County. There's your rotation, very strong once again together. You're getting some winds going into about 30 miles per hour, winds going away at about 50, so at least 80 mile per hour wind gusts expected with this. But regardless, again, these conditions will be changing quickly. So again, here is the most dangerous part of the storm, just along and south of 281. Here's 41. Right there, and then here's 75, cuts north-south. Heading toward these areas. The storm's moving east-northeast at 35 miles an hour. So we'll time it out for you in terms of where we will see and when we will see this storm move through Coney in 5 minutes, Cordell in 15. I like to shave it off, so Coney, you need to be in that safe spot now. And then Cordell in 10 minutes. What you can do to stay safe is continue to follow us here at WeatherNation. You can take your phone, we've got our WeatherNation app, you stream us, and take us into that lowest, most interior section, inner closet, inner bathroom, basement, and then continue to watch until the storm threat has fully passed. You can see Ben's getting a little more clearance. You're getting a little more texture to the clouds in the distance, just above some of the gas station signs and interstate signs. You're starting to see a little bit more of that storm as this approaches I-75. Ben McMillan in a safe spot. He is still on the line, I do believe, but he's just kind of standing by in case he sees something. I've given him the go-ahead to interject at all possible with any new information.
Steve, we'll show you a live image here of the rain-free base. If you can pull up our dash cam, we're starting to see a little bit of visibility above that tree line there. If you see off in the distance, just past the believe it's a Chick-fil-A and a gas station there. And that's that area where that rain-free base is, where we would really want to keep a close eye on. That's the area where that wall cloud or possible tornado could pop out of. So we're going to really watch that ridge line closely there for any kind of sign of tornadic development. That's obviously the area we would watch for any kind of indication it's coming into our location.
Yeah, and you're starting to get a better view of that as that pushes toward your location, about 5 minutes away from your spot. So any new visuals that you get there, Ben, we'll pass that along to the National Weather Service. National Weather Service confirming this on radar, though, as it moves to the east along I-281, it's the U.S. Highway 281, as it moves to the east. Also producing some possible hail. Hail could be up to 1 inch in diameter, but also more so the wind threat with a tornado warning that is in effect. The rotation's weakening a little bit. So the storm looks like it's on that little weakening phase, but I mean, to be honest, if we have a confirmed tornado and it weakens a little bit, you still have to pay close attention to it and take those appropriate precautions, seeking shelter, because they go through some cycles, they go through some phases. Just as fast as it weakens, it could get stronger yet again here across this area. As we continue to look at those images, you can see again, bottom part of the picture, Ben is just about 5 minutes away or so from this storm approaching just off the right-hand side. So you're looking off toward the west-southwest toward that storm as that is just approaching the area. This is the tornado warning. It remains in effect for a confirmed tornado, dangerous one, until 4 o'clock Eastern time. The rain's getting a little bit lighter, so again, Ben is right where Cordell is, right-hand side of your screen. This storm moving over Coney right now in Georgia. This is in Crisp County, Georgia. This is way south of Macon, so it's nowhere near Macon, and it's way north of Albany. So if you kind of picture those two cities on the map, south of Macon, north of Albany, Georgia, and moving to the east-northeast. The rotation's really broad, and let me show you the moment when this was confirmed by the National Weather Service radar. And it was right around here. It looks like this touchdown somewhere near Chokey and Cobb, because then the drop started right here. Basically, what I mean by drop is that the radar's seeing unfamiliar objects. They're kind of atypical objects right where the blue is. So that's when that debris started getting lifted up, and that could be a mixture of raindrops and leaves, or it could be hailstones and pieces of shingles, very oddly shaped objects together. And then that's where that rotation really was strongest, co-located with some of that debris signature getting lofted up by the radar. You can see since then that appearance has really kind of dwindled a little bit. It's still showing a pretty strong rotation, but there was the hook right there. So it looks like this thing for sure hit the ground at Chokey, Georgia, just south of Leslie, lasted for a good bit, and then now it looks like it could be weakening, but it still could strengthen again with a storm. There is a storm just off to the south, so hopefully that can kind of cut off the inflow of this, but that is one that is on the south. As you can see in Ben's live stream, Ben, it's getting darker there.
Yeah, Steve, if you're still with me here, we're starting to actually see some characteristics now of a very strong rotating storm. We can see the mesocyclone, which is the elevated region above the wall cloud. It's really coming nicely into view here. I don't know if you can see, again, just above that tree line, kind of that darker area that extends down to the trees. That's that mesocyclone. So we can confirm this is a rotating storm visually now, and we're, again, watching for a wall cloud or a tornado underneath that.
And Ben, you've seen so many of these storms, whether it be in the plains or here in the southeast. When you say mesocyclone, you're talking about kind of this storm and just a quickly rotating one, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's just an indication there's inflow and outflow for people who don't know what a mesocyclone is. That just means winds feeding into the storm and out of the storm. It's kind of a machine just processing all the air as it flows in and out of it. So that's what we mean by mesocyclone.
Yeah, I like to think of it as an engine, an intake and an exhaust. These things are kind of engines in themselves if it's a hurricane or a tornadic storm and a severe storm. So at least this is some good indication. You're not as close to see anything just on the horizon on the ground yet, right?
Yeah, we aren't seeing anything imminent, I would say, that's telling me there's a tornado immediately in our vicinity. Obviously, we're going to move to a safer location if we see that. But at this point, we're just really noticing the structure, the mesocyclone, and the lowering where a possible wall cloud would develop.
Yeah, and I'm just reading a little bit of the National Weather Service office chat, Ben, just to pass along to you. The latest that we have heard is rotations weakening, seeing a little bit of a lowering on the radar of that being a tornado that is producing active damage. But They are still continuing the observed tornado tag. So I say tag because the tornado warnings come in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes radar indicated, sometimes it's observed. This one is observed by the radar, so they're keeping that quote-unquote tag as that approaches I-75. Hey, this is impressive. I'm also looking off screen because we're trying to get some other visuals of this, and we have a stream from another angle near Cordell. If we can take this, it's again in a more rural spot. So this is kind of in and out in terms of video quality, but it's another view of this storm live here from Brandon Copic. There you go, right there. No, Ben, this thing is still on the ground. We're looking at another one. If you're still on the line, yeah, that's live, moving right to left across the screen. As it's moving to the east, that's east of Coney and moving toward Cordell. Small rotation, but that's pretty. It's whipping up the winds and just passed in front of Brandon's video. Brandon Copic with LSM providing those images there, right to left, moving right across the screen, already out of the picture. So it's moving right along, but he just caught that, and he's going to kind of wheel the vehicle around to try to catch the other side of that. Right there. So this is the storm. What you're looking at is the tornado right there, moving just on what appears to be more rural areas, dirt road he's on right there. So this is just on the south side, again, more rural, so the video picture goes in and out. But there it goes. Off into the distance, real small rotation right there, a little kind of an elephant trunk that comes down from the cloud. But that is why you want to seek shelter in the path of that. It can quickly do damage, and vehicles that can toss them, that can move that right around. So that's why a vehicle is a never safe place. Brandon in an okay position because you can see the tornado is moving away from him as that moves into that location. So that is, again, just between Coney and Cordell. You start to get a little bit less in terms of the quality of the reception for video as it gets more rural, but there it is. There's another view right there. You see some debris getting lofted up, so that's probably, again, you can't confirm it, you can't see it above the tree line, but that's probably some leaves. We just went through spring, everything's leaved up. But there's the lower end of the lower base of the cloud, and that tornado right there, moving through Crisp County, Georgia. At this time, it's approaching Cordell. Head to your safe place if you're in Cordell. Remain there until at least, we're at 4 o'clock now, but stay there till 4:15 just to be safe. Because this storm, again, is moving through and always changing. This is how fast these things move and how fast they change as that pushes across. Hey, Dr. Jim Siebert's here in studio. If we can bring him in, if his mic's up. Jim, what do you think of this site that you're seeing right here?
Well, it actually is getting larger as we've been looking at this, and the overall structure of the storm, if you look on the outer edges of this picture, the spinning is still going on, and so this is not necessarily weakening. I mean, it might be weakening aloft, which is what the Weather Service is looking at on the radar, but here at the ground, the circulation, not only just the tornado itself, but the rest of the storm around it is still moving very healthily, and I don't see anything in any direction that would inhibit that inflow and outflow, at least for right now.
Because sometimes you can get not blockage, but something to block it, something
Sure.
to inhibit it.
It doesn't take very much to push it off its course, and that's why, I mean, even now we can see that it's much smaller than it was even just seconds ago. So we'll continue to see this kind of change with this particular storm system. In fact, I would assume, as we look at it on radar, that we're starting to see that weakening, and notice that it's almost looking like it's in a roping stage, meaning that it's just a little bit that's left. And so with a little bit of luck, it might be the end of its lifetime.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully something can choke that off there across that area. But that is impressive to see and rotate right across. But it shows you that, from the radar perspective, it looked a lot stronger in the reflectivity. It looks like it weakened, but it was still producing a tornado. So good thing that the National Weather Service office went and continued that observed tag.
Well, and you still have all the heating of the day. Everything's still in place. And it's also out enough by itself that, again, nothing is really slowing it down. Now, even as we speak, it looks like it's gotten a little better organized again. And you're going to see that. It's going to pulse up. It's going to pulse down. And you'll see that rotation actually shift sometimes. And I think we may be seeing kind of that replacement cycle at this point.
Well, look at the entire thing. When he zooms out, you see the structure of the storm. So the National Weather Service office, we're going to have to let them know about this because they had just allowed this to expire at the top of the hour, replaced by the severe thunderstorm warning. But we will relay this to them we can chat one-on-one and let them know about this.
You have to keep in mind, too, the radar, it's taking sequences. And so it takes a while for the radar to actually look at the whole storm and then send that image in so we can actually view it on screen like this. And so there's a delay, and that little delay can be pretty important at this point. Now, Ben's shot, see, he's on the other side, so this is also a good place to be. So this this is kind of a further away view, but you can also still see that structure. So what he was talking about is that mesocyclone right in the middle of the screen, that lower area that looks like the clouds are right on the ground. That's that lowering. That's where the thunderstorm itself is spinning. That's where the inflow and the outflow are all coming together in that collision. And at this point, it still looks pretty organized to me with that lowering.
I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit for the viewers to see what I'm talking about, and that's that low area of clouds right over that tree line that I've been talking about that we've really been watching closely, and you can see that's almost to the ground now. So we can't confirm if there's a tornado underneath that, but it's definitely looking like there could be one based on the structure we're seeing here live on I-75.
Well, and as we look at that also, the fact that it's so low to the ground, anybody near that, you're not going to have any warning. So that's why this is the time when you want to be seeking shelter, where you do it so, in an orderly manner and not like running for your lives there at the last second. And that's why we try to give you these shots and give you these pictures so you can be prepared if you are in the path of the storm.
Yeah, and a new tornado warning has been reissued. We chatted with the Weather Service, said, hey, this is what we saw. Just saw this pass by in the camera, and they said, yep, we saw it too on our side, and going to reissue that tornado warning. So there's only a couple minute gap, minute or two without that warning there, just to get it reissued. But it's in effect now till 4:45.
What's the speed on it as it's moving? It was 35
Moving
miles
east
per
at
hour?
20.
20, so it has slowed down just
slower.
a little bit, okay? And so that not necessarily indicates that anything different for us, but it's also important to note that the National Weather Service has been watching this very carefully, and so when you combine it with what the Weather Service is saying, the video that we see, and the radar that you can see, it really gives you a great idea. You know where this is, and you know if you need to be safe.
But like you said, it's very, very tough to see it just off the horizon. This is pretty close to it, too. So you think you'd be able to see something, but some of these events, it ends up just being like a massive dark cloud somewhere within there. Those severe winds, you just want to just stay sheltered in. And can completely understand if you're in a tornado warning, it can be very nerve-wracking. Oh, my goodness, you're kind of like, whoa, I never think it happens to me. What do I do? And you just want to continue to see where you are in regard to that.
So this is the live shot again, and so this is Brandon's video. So you still see the rotation, you still see that the tornado is still there, and he's actually really close to it, a little closer than I would like him to be.
Yep.
But and especially that car in front of him needs to stop. But in fact, I think he's going to slow down here. But that's where you want to be. You want to be where it's moving away. And you have to keep in mind, folks, that there's also lightning in this storm. And so the lightning is as dangerous at this point as some of those other things. But you can see that's a small tornado. It's almost like I was saying earlier. It looks like it's trying to be in the roping stage, which is kind of where it looks like a rope because it's kind of ending its cycle.
Yep.
But then it kind of regenerates again, and you start to see that inflow really go.
And you see multiple vortices here. You kind of see multiple rotation. The whole thing's rotating, but then right in front, that's an emergency office right there, hopefully stopping right there with them. You can see it cross the field right in front of our eyes. And how fast these things develop. You get the radar scan every minute or two, but so much happens in that span.
Well, think of it like us. As we breathe in and we breathe out, right?
Yeah.
Our breath can change very quickly. And it's the same thing with something like this with WeatherNation. Now, look at how quickly it got big again. Now, I think it's also moving over a field that's dirt, and so you're seeing a little better idea. Now, it's kind of off screen, but when it's in the dirt, it looks bigger, but it's also because it just shows you kind of a better idea where that rotation is.
Yeah, and then right out of the picture. So definitely very close, and try not to imitate this at all and mock and go see it for yourself. These are trained professionals. They know where to set up and where to go in terms of keeping themselves safe. But this helps that the National Weather Service office, they watch along and see what this looks like underneath the radar imagery.
And another positive thing, at least if there is a positive thing here, this is rural. I haven't seen any buildings or any homes anywhere near this, at least at this point. And if you have to have a tornado, I guess this is a better time for that at this point.